Hey, this is a safe place, so don't read into this at all. How many of you know of someone, or maybe you personally, in your life who's ever had a fake ID? Does anybody know that? Hey, police, just come in. Police right here. I see a hand up here. Make sure you just... I've always been fascinated with fake IDs. And not really for the booze. Like, I know that's what you're thinking. Like, oh, that'd be great. Like when I was in high school, like, oh, fake ID. I think what I've been fascinated about with fake IDs is the idea to be someone that I'm not. I'm fascinated with the idea that I can change everything about myself to be someone different, and people might notice me differently. They might see me differently. They might look at me differently. My wife and I were currently watching through the Mission Impossible movies, which there are now so many of them. And we're only on the first two. First two, not the greatest. But there's always a moment in every Mission Impossible movie where like you think someone is talking, and then they rip their face off. They're like, just kidding, I'm someone else. That would be cool. That would be cool to pretend to be someone else, to change who you are, to go someplace, to be noticed differently, to talk about it, and have no one know. And fake IDs seem really cool. The problem with a fake ID, or a fake identity, is there is probably going to be a moment when you're found out. There's probably going to be a moment where this thing you've created comes crashing down. And what I'm wondering for the next few weeks is if we could identify some of these different fake identities that maybe we carry and see if we can't fight back against them now before it blows up in our face. And here's what you need to know. Every week we're going to talk about a different fake ID, different identity that we maybe cover ourselves with. And I think it'd be easy for you to think, well, this is my week, this is the one that I struggle with. But I would probably say this to you. I think most of us probably deal with all of these at different levels at different times in our life. If you resonate a bunch with this week, like me personally, I'll just say this up front. This week, this message is probably just a message that I'm writing for myself. But that doesn't mean that the following weeks won't have things that I'm still dealing with. A lot of us struggle with all of these things, and I'm excited for us to talk about some of the truth that maybe can reject these IDs that we have, these fake identities that we carry. Hello. Howdy. Hello? I was 22, is it working? Ha-ha! Thanks, man. What's up, y'all? Okay, I was 22 years old when I first man cried. And this is important to understand. Like you've cried as a kid. I got little kids in my life, in my house. I got little children, and they cry all the time. That's different. You maybe cried in junior high. Some of you I watched cry in Flagstaff. High school cried. And that's okay. Like tears in different moments of your life are important, but there's something about that first adult cry. That first moment where you're like, oh, this is going to be a thing for me. I'm going to work through this. And I was 22 years old, and I was standing in front. I was at my college football banquet. Just finished my senior year. I was not going to play football ever again, and I had been a captain that year, and so I was going to have a speech, and so I came prepared with a speech. And in my speech, the plan was that I was going to say, hey, I've put all this work and effort into being a football player, but my identity isn't tied up into being a football player. My identity is tied up in who I am in Jesus. I had this speech prepared, and I was going to give it, and I would be lying if I didn't think that when I gave this speech, like heaven was going to open, like sun was going to come down. Like, Jake, you're nailing it. Thought every one of my buddies that played football with was going to get baptized right afterwards. Like, oh. And in reality, what happened is I got up there and I said two lines that I had prepared. And then I just donkey cried for like 7 straight minutes. It's like some people you cry and it's like, oh, it's cute or it's professional. It was not for me. It was like Donkey from Shrek. Like he's just weeping and just crying. I'm making weird noises. It still hurts, that laugh. Here's what I'm saying though. I spent a lot of time processing why I cried so much giving that speech. And I think what happened was in my head, I knew that my identity was centered in Jesus, but in my heart, I wasn't living like it was. I up here knew that, hey, yeah, my identity is in Christ. What he says about me is important. But in my actions, in my heart, what really was happening is for the first time, I was coming face to face with this thing that I put all my effort into, all my passion, all my work, all my energy into for the last 5 years was going to be gone. And I wasn't ready to deal with that. Today what we want to talk about is the performance identity. And it's this identity that I think a lot of us are carrying where we get our value, our purpose, our worth from how good we are at something. And I don't know what your something is. For me at the time, it was football. For you, it could be football or basketball or the French horn. It could be that you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a pastor, you're going to go to this school and be valedictorian. I don't know what it is. But you've put all your effort and your energy and your passion into this thing, being good at this thing. And if I'm just good enough at this thing, people will notice me and I will have value. And I'll have worth and I'll matter. And none of those things are bad. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Those things aren't bad. The problem is if your entire worth and value and purpose is tied into your performance, what happens when your performance is poor? What happens when you're like me and the thing you've put all your work into for 5 years has been ripped away? What happens when you tear your ACL? What happens when you don't get into the college you want to get into? What happens if you're like me, you start to fall apart a little bit. Start to ask questions, you start to wonder. And I think for me, I just remember sitting in seats like you're sitting in, and I remember an old guy like me telling you this same thing, like, hey, don't put your identity in a thing that you're doing, because when it goes away. I remember just thinking like, well, yeah, but right now it's not going away. Like this seems like a problem I'll deal with when I'm older. Like right now things are going pretty good for me. I probably don't struggle with this performance identity issue. And what I've been learning is that more of us may be struggling with this than we think. And what I want to do for the next few minutes is I want to maybe call out some red flags, some things that maybe are happening in your life that could alert you to the fact that you may be putting your identity in what you're performing at, not in what God says about you. And then after we kind of identify some of those, what I want to do for you is I want to give you some habits, some skills that I'm trying to put into my life to help me make sure I can fight back against this fake identity. Because here's the reality. I told you, I was in college, I was 22, and I knew in my brain that Jesus was my identity, but I didn't know it down here. Because I hadn't been repping it. I hadn't been practicing it. We just got out of a series last week called The Way, Practicing the Ways of Jesus. We want to give you more opportunities to do that. So here's the first thing that I would say. This is kind of a red flag that maybe you struggle with this issue. Maybe you have a little bit of performance identity. And it's this. When your entire demeanor, your emotions, your attitude hinges upon how good or bad you do at something. When you get home from practice and you crushed it and all of a sudden you're like the nicest kid ever to your parents. But then 2 days later you're bad and your mom's like, how'd it go? And you're like, no, and you just slam the door. This may be a thing you're struggling with. Performance identity. You're putting your value and worth into how good you are at something. I think another thing for me that kind of triggers in my brain that maybe I'm struggling with this is when the thing that I say that I love the most in life is also the thing that gives me some of the most anxiety in my life. Oh, but I love playing this instrument. I love going to practice. I love doing this, but you just stay up all night the night before a concert. You're stressed out the whole time. You can't sleep the night before a test because you're so worked up, because if you happen to fail at this thing that you've put your identity into, for me, this is a little insider baseball, but I told you a little bit ago, this is like a personal message for me. The place in my life currently that I most deal with this is this thing that I'm doing right now, like standing up here and talking. It's weird and it's annoying and you don't care at all, but I'm telling you anyways. Like, I love doing this thing, but there are seasons, there have been seasons of my life where this thing stresses me out more than anything. And I'll stay up all night thinking and processing and working and crafting and shifting. And when I catch myself in that space, it's clear to me that my identity has shifted. It's clear to me that I forgot where my identity should lie, and it should lie in what God says about me. A thing that I think would help all of us if we're in this space, and this is something that I'm working on, trying to get better at, is just this simple. If you want to fight this fake, we got to start praying often. And here's something that I think would help neuter the anxiety that you're facing in your life. If you started reminding yourself more often that it's not about you. If you started reminding yourself that the skills that you have, the gifts you've been given, the desire you have to work at and practice and do this thing more, if all of that is just a gift from God and you postured yourself in such a way to remind yourself of that before you went and did that thing, I wonder if it would change your attitude towards the thing that you're so stressed out about. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I'm not saying you have to get out there and do this big, long, elaborate prayer. But what it works for me, what I've been doing, and this is not a Jake thing. There's lots of people at our church who get up here and talk to do something similar. Before I come out here and preach, right back here behind these curtains, and then earlier in the week on Monday or Tuesday when I'm starting to prep, I'm sitting down and I'm praying, hey, thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for giving me the desire to study, to learn, to grow. Thank you for giving me a church that trusts me to do this. The last thing I like to say that I think would be a great reminder for all of us is when people see this, when people watch this, when people see me, help them see Jesus and not Jake. And I wonder if before your football practice, before your big test, before your application, if your reminder, if you sat for a second and just quickly reminded yourself that it wasn't about you and you prayed and you recentered, I wonder if it would change your attitude towards performance. I think another red flag that you may have that you struggle with a little bit of performance identity is if you have a hard time celebrating other people. If you have a hard time shouting out people who are also good at the things you want to be good at. And some of you might be thinking, oh, I don't have this problem. Like, I play basketball and I always tell my friend who plays football that he's great. Doesn't count. That's a different thing. I mean, are you celebrating the person that's fighting for your job? Can you highlight them? Can you encourage them? Or is that just way too hard for you? Because you're just so competitive. I know it's hard for me. It's difficult for me. It says this in Philippians. Paul writes this. Guys, listen, holding this mic and doing the Bible, a whole bunch of things now. This is in Ephesians 2, 3 through 4. If you got a Bible, if you got a phone, you can look it up. I feel like this is not the verse I wanted to read. It's right in front of me. Next page. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your help. Thank you. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Humility, I think, can be a competition killer. It's hard for me to celebrate. I need to do something right now. This is weird, but we'll deal with it. Where's my wife? Where are you at, Brie? Are you here somewhere? Where's she at? She's over here? Okay, you can't see this, doesn't matter. I need to do this for me. Brie, you are a better driver than I am. and listen, and this next part is gonna sound sarcastic, but really it's not. Hey, I love the fact that you actually put distance in between cars. Like, you value the safety of our children. And here's the reality. That was kind of hard for me. Like, really hard. How stupid is it that it's hard for me to admit that someone's better at driving than I am? How wild is it that I've attached my identity to being good at things that I can't celebrate someone else? That's crazy, yet we're all doing it. And you want to fight the fake? Can you cheer loud? Pray often, cheer loud. Find someone in your life that you can shout out for doing things well. And I just wonder if the act of being humble enough to celebrate people could actually start to fight this performance identity that so many of us carry around with us. Who's someone you need to celebrate boldly this week? One of the last red flags of someone with performance identity issues is that when you're bad at something, you just downplay it a lot. Oh, like I wasn't even trying to do that thing. I know I got a B, but I didn't really study for the test. So it's not a big deal that I got a B. It's the person that, like, you always have an excuse for everything. I do this so much, it's so embarrassing how much I do this. My in-laws, all of them, are tremendous and awesome humans. They're also all really good at golf. And I am not. And it's a problem for me. I don't want to go golfing with them because I'm going to be bad at a thing that of course I'm bad at. Like, I never do the thing. But I'm so consumed with being better at things than people that I'm afraid to do things I don't think I'm going to be good at. And some of you do this too. This is an issue for you. If your friend's calling like, hey, we're going putt-putt golfing, and you go, oh, I think I'm busy. Why? Because I'm going to be bad at putt-putt golfing? That's crazy. That's crazy that you say no to doing things because you're afraid you're going to look bad or look silly or perform poorly. That's crazy. Yet we're all doing it. We're hiding from things that we think we're going to be bad at because we would hate for someone to notice us being bad at it, to not excelling at it. Paul says this in Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians. And this is actually, what's crazy is Paul's talking about, he's got like an ailment. He's got an actual injury. He's not just like bad at mini golf, but this will translate. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, but he said, to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. My grace is sufficient in you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses. Hey, if you want to fight this performance identity issue, hey, pray often, cheer loud, risk bold. Risk bold. What if you tried doing something this week that you actually might not be good at? Because I'm telling you, when I'm on a golf course with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law, I'm just hacking it. It is great to be reminded that my value is not in how good I am at golf. My value is centered in what God says about me. I don't think I'm alone. I don't think I'm the only one in here who's finding my worth and my value and my purpose in how good I am at things. Let's be students who fight it. Pray often, cheer loud, risk bold. None of those things by themselves are going to work unless you first understand what Jesus has done for you. Paul says it this way in Ephesians. It says 2, 8, and 9. And I think what's crazy about performance identity is that it seems silly when it comes to football or basketball or school, but what's really sneaky about this performance idea is it starts to affect the way that you think you need to earn love from God. Because it starts to tell you that, hey, God, like I need to do more good than other people, and then he will love me. It starts to make you be the person that starts comparing yourself. Like, how Christian am I? Well, more Christian than the person like 2 rows up there. Because I saw her at a place she wasn't supposed to be at. And you start playing this game where you lever yourself up. And Paul is speaking to people when he wrote this. People struggling with this same thing, that's convinced themselves that they're better at being a Christian because of the things that they're doing. And Paul says this in chapter 2, verse 8, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourself, it is a gift of God, not by works so that no one can boast. The next 5 words say this, it says, for we are God's handiwork. What if we were students that realized our identity is planted firmly in what Jesus says about us? It's planted firmly in the grace that he gives, and it's planted firmly in the fact that he loves us and he made us and he gives us purpose. Let me pray for all. Heavenly Father, thank you for what you're doing. Lord, thank you that you can still work and you continue to work. God, I would love for this performance identity that keeps creeping up to just go away. And I pray that for people. I pray that you just show up and it's not even a problem for them anymore. But I also know the reality of like, you saved us, but you didn't save us to just stay the same. You want more from us. Give us the confidence and the boldness and the courage and the consistency to fight the fake. To remind ourselves where our identity comes from. And to live boldly because you love us. We love you in your name.